I've been bad about recording these updates, so I'm going to try to do another one here. Where are we at? This is for Lore 24, and this will be week 2. What do I have for week 2 of Lore 24? See my previous video for any kind of explanation if you feel like it. First off, we have Tevik the Seer, also known as Tevik the Betrayer, and sometimes as the 13th. Tevik was generally thought of as the foulest of villains. The son of a king, he was gifted with vicious... See, this is going to be bad because I'm going back and reading my handwriting, which is really terrible. He was gifted with visions that gave him great wisdom. He was said to be a friend of the Sasha, which I'll explain at some other point, and with their help, created many tools and inventions that are still used today. According to most traditions, Tevik betrayed his friends Boj and Achek to the demon princes of Drunhavi. There is a heretical sect that tells a very different story, however, where Tevik himself was betrayed and escaped with the twins trying to save them. Okay. Like with many myths, there are various versions of them, retellings of them. I think about how we today typically picture Set in our stories of Egypt. You know, frequently they are distilled through various changes. We think of Set as this evil, villainous god, but Set was the primary god of a certain city at one point. And then later on, when the religion with another primary god took over that area, then they made Set into their kind of antithesis. This is why you see in a lot of Western films with very semi-Christian ideas where you have to have a good god and a bad god, and you have usually set up as the kind of devil figure. But that's really, it wasn't originally a devil figure. Anyway, so that's why these myths will have different versions of them. That's part of the whole thing. Anyway, on to day 9. Tersh. These large quadrupeds are a staple of Graves and many other regions. They work as pack animals and labor and provide milk, leather, and more. Their meat is not generally eaten by Una, by human analogies. Though it is sometimes used to feed other beasts. Steppe nomads tend flocks of Tersh, and a drink made from fermented Tersh milk is an important part of their diet. Tersh cheese is quite popular in certain circles. The beasts are generally slow and even-tempered, but can be stubborn. They have thick, scaly hides and patches of bristly hair. All right, day 10, Halim Kabbalah. Halim Kabbalah. The true nature of the Halim Kabbalah is Kabbalah. See, this is why I should probably type this stuff out, but it'll be typed later. The true nature of this is confused at best. Is it a place? In one story, it is the name of a battlefield where the first folk and the demonic other, that's a proper noun other, fought their last fight. Is it the origin of life? Another story tells of an adventurer discovering a hidden valley and a spring from which all life was born. He became immortal after bathing in that spring and still wanders the earth today. Not the earth, the world, today. Is it an artifact? Yet another tale refers to the Halim Kabbalah as a sacred object stolen from the old gods, containing their powers and wisdom. It is said to grant victory to its possessor. Okay. Day 11, Drumhavi. This mysterious and possibly mythical land is said to be inhabited by devils and ruled by the so-called demon princes. According to stories, Drumhavi exists beyond the Lake of Three Bloods, yet none seem able to agree where that lake is. Some believe it to be an old name for the Western Ocean, while others believe it is a mistranslation of an old name for the vast veldt to the east. That name is translated to the blood sea of grass, where the word for grass is close to the word for three. I think I had it as a homonym. Okay, so, and let's move on to day 12, Black Mountains. A chain of mountains that serves as a sort of unofficial border between the lands of the Una and of the Yarrow. The Una are essentially humans. When I was developing the setting originally, I realized that I did need something human enough to latch onto. So for all intents and purposes, Una are human, although they're, in my own thinking about the setting, there is no connection between the Conquest of the Sphere world and Earth. These are not humans in a distant space colony. This is not the proto-history of Earth. People from the Una from this world were not taken and dropped on it. You know, there's none of that. But I needed essentially humans for all intents and purposes. They are humans, so that's the Una. The Yarrow are a different species altogether, whereas the Una are descended from, uplifted from, arboreal primates. The Yarrow are uplifted from veldt pack hunters, kind of like a little bit like, not really lions, a little bit like hyena, but you know. Anyway, large-scale conflict between the two species are uncommon and have been for centuries. Several routes through the mountain are charted. Some even feature established roads. Many communities dot the region. Strange tales are told of the often snow-capped and fog-shrouded mountains. Hidden valleys, deep caves, and thick woods hide any number of mysteries. The Black Mountains, as I see them, are very similar in my head to the Alps. I visited the Alps, I don't know, I guess now like probably almost 6 years ago, and standing at the base of these mountains is, I'm a very, very much non-religious person, but standing at the bottom of these mountains, I was like, I kind of understood religious thinking for a moment. It felt humbling and awe-inspiring in a way that it made sense why there are so many myths and legends and stories told about the Alps and about mountains generally. I've never seen the American Rockies. I've seen them in pictures, obviously, like anybody, but I've never been to them. I've flown above the Andes, but I have not stood in front of the Andes. But I stood there and was dwarfed by the Alps, and it was an amazing feeling, and unlike really anything I have otherwise experienced. And so that's where I kind of came at the Black Mountains from, that they are sort of my idea of the Alps. And in fact, I have a story that I started writing that didn't really pan out, which I may turn into a RPG scenario at some point that is set in them. It's kind of it's a little Hammer horror inspired story set in a small village in the Black Mountains that I think will have a lot of that mist-shrouded kind of menace of a Hammer horror mixed with your Grimm's fairy tales and all that kind of thing that I think the Alps really kind of bring out in me. Anyway, yeah. Eta, the Gravasian name for the world. It means all lands. Though the concept has been stretched over the centuries as new discoveries are made, it is generally believed that Eta is a massive flat disk covered in land and sea with the light of the sun set directly above. At night, an object, believed by many to be a god or a monster, obscures the sun. When this happens, the sky glows a dim, hazy blue-green. Okay. Observing the night's sky drives people mad, and generally, people people automatically avoid looking too closely. Some stories claim that Etta is surrounded on all sides by what is called the Wall of the World, but many think this is no more than a legend. So, yes, that is one thing to know about the setting. The sun that gives light and heat is always directly above. So when it comes out, it doesn't rise in the east and set in the west. Instead, it is dark and then grows light and then grows dark later on. Sort of there's like a dimming and a lighting time, which is the closest thing to dawn and dusk. And then, yes, the night sky is, again, a blue-green, sort of just a general hazy blue-green that probably, if there's no clouds, is probably as bright as moonlight, but it's just a general overall blue-green glow to the sky. And when I say that people don't look at it, it's sort of almost like in your DNA not to, in the same way that like you don't look at the sun because it hurts. Well, you don't look at the night sky because it kind of hurts your brain a little. And there are people who occasionally do, and they are usually considered insane. So, all right, finally, day 14. So this will be the end of week 2. Talek, one of the most commonly kept animals. Taleks are large arthropods with plump, soft thorax. I think I got thorax right. I'm so bad with my body parts, and I didn't look it up while I was writing this down. They eat almost anything, including food scraps and leaves. They produce eggs, which are prized for nutrition and flavor. Very easy to keep, often in sort of, even in urban areas, they're kept like on rooftops and in little coops and such. They also are free range on many farms. Taleks are common on farms, homesteads, on city rooftops. I even wrote that. On city rooftops and yards, and even on ocean vessels. They're even kept on ocean vessels so that people can have the fresh eggs. I'd have to think about it, whether or not people eat these things. I bet they probably do. All right, so that is day 14, the end of week 2, if I'm doing my math right, which it should be, because I'm not that bad at this point. I barely even tipped into my beer. I mentioned in a previously recorded video, although I don't know when it's going to show on here, this is Blueberry Sparkler American Sour from Portland, Maine, from Lone Pine Brewing Company. It's pretty darn tasty. So if you're in Portland, Maine, or in Maine generally, I don't think this was purchased in Portland. If you're in Maine, check out Lone Pine Brewing Company and the Blueberry Sparkler. Pretty tasty. It's, you know, it's a sour, but it's not like it doesn't taste of like repugnantly of like blueberry flavoring or anything like that. And it's easy drinking, and it has a kind of a slightly sour, slightly fruity flavor. I don't even pick up that much blueberry, but there's a little like tang of that in there. So anyway, pretty good. And that's my Lore 24 week 2. I don't think I'm going to record week 3 after this. I have it written, but I don't think I'm going to record it right now because I don't want to. So we'll see when the next video comes up. If you enjoy anything that I have done here, please do take a look below for any links that might help you support me in some way if you would like. Like and subscribe to this page if you feel like it. This whole thing, Conquest of the Sphere, I've written several stories. You can get the Conquest of the Sphere 4 Tales ebook in the links below on my Amazon page. There's been some stuff on the blog before. And my Patreon, I'm currently working on releasing chapters from the novel that I've been working on for what seems like forever. If you like anything about that and you want to check any of that stuff out, that'd be great. Much appreciated. So, take care, and I'll see you in whatever the next video is that I record. Take care.